I, 22 female, lost my mom 11 years ago. The anniversary of her death is tomorrow, and just like I do every year, I made a memorial post with a slideshow video and a paragraph about my mom. My stepdad's new wife of 6 years is friends with me on Facebook, and I was really surprised to see she angry reacted to my post. I figured she did it by accident, but later she sent me a message saying that it was very inappropriate for me to include pictures of my stepdad and mom in my post, because she's married to him now, and that I needed to take down the video because her kids were now old enough to see those pictures and be confused as to why their dad is kissing another woman in those pictures. I told her no, because I am memorializing that period of time, and that includes my mom and stepdad's marriage. She told me that I'm not even really his daughter and shouldn't be posting pictures of him without his permission. I got upset and told her that she's just upset that she's always going to be second choice to my mom, and she doesn't like to think about the fact that she wouldn't have her perfect little family if my mom was still alive. And as much as she wanted to, she can't erase the fact that my mom is still my stepdad's first love. She called me a little witch and blocked me. I haven't heard anything in a couple hours. I feel bad now and feel like I shouldn't have lost my temper, and I think she might have a point about the pictures being inappropriate because he's in a new marriage now, but I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but your stepdad's wife sure is. I'm sorry for your loss. Honor your mom's memory however you feel is right. If she doesn't like it, she can unfriend you. You don't have to feel bad for her being a selfish, insecure, unempathetic a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your stepdad's new wife is wildly insecure and entitled. As for her kids, if they're old enough to be using social media, then they're old enough to understand that their father was previously married to another woman. Not the a-hole. Your stepmom's excuse of having to explain to the kids why their dad was kissing another woman in a photo is a terrible excuse for her insecurity. Literally all she would have to say to her kids if they asked her was, "Your dad had a life before I met him." Don't let someone else's insecurities keep you from remembering your mother and her wonderful life. Update. My dad called me and we had a long conversation with just the two of us. He told me that he understands why I said what I did, and he isn't okay with what his wife told me. But he said he would appreciate if I didn't post pictures of him with my mom anymore, because they upset his wife. He told me that their wedding photos in particular really upset her, because they had a courthouse wedding as opposed to the big wedding he and mom had, because my mom's family paid for most of it. He told me that he will always love my mom, but acknowledging the relationship that he had with her makes his wife really upset because she always feels like she is a third wheel in his relationship with his first wife. I told him that I wouldn't just pretend like that part of her life didn't happen, and he's asking me to basically pretend like he wasn't a father to me because his wife is insecure, and if he wanted me to be part of his life, it was going to be as his daughter and the sister of his kids, and if he didn't like that, then I wouldn't be part of his life anymore. I told him that his wife was threatened by a woman that has been dead for over a decade and had pushed me out of the picture for too long. He said he understood how I felt, but that he loved his wife, and that would upset her, so he didn't want to do that. And I told him then he wouldn't have me in his life. I've blocked him on everything. I'm out doing stuff with my family now to celebrate my mom's life. My parents split up 10 years ago after my dad had an affair, and he's still with the same woman, Jane, now. At the beginning, our relationship was rocky because I was only 12 or 13 years old, and the whole process of my parents splitting affected me. We started getting along better when I was older, and we've had a great relationship for the past 7 years. She also has 3 children, my step-siblings, who I've always gotten along with and am very close to. My dad and Jane got engaged pretty soon after my parents split up, and until last week, I thought they'd just been engaged this whole time. Then I found out they got married 3 years ago. I only found out because my dad slipped up and talked about what they were going to do for their wedding anniversary next weekend. When I picked up on what he said, they both got really uncomfortable, and I had to basically force the truth out of them. I was mad because why didn't I get invited to the wedding? I could maybe understand if it was back when Jane and I didn't get along, but we've had a really good relationship for a while now. Then I thought maybe it was a spur-of-the-moment wedding or something not planned. But it was planned, although very small. Just them and my siblings and a couple of friends. I kept getting madder the more I thought about it, because they've had to really work to hide it for 3 years. They must have wedding pictures they haven't been able to put up, and my siblings have also kept this secret. It's a lot of effort to stop me from knowing about the whole thing for no real reason. I would have loved to have been there to see them get married. I haven't spoken to them since I found out, and I pretty childishly stormed out of the restaurant we were at when it happened. I also said some hurtful things to them at the time, that they are selfish psychopaths and bad parents for making my siblings lie to me and hide their secret for so long, which I regret but haven't apologized for. They're saying I'm an a-hole for ignoring them over something that happened 3 years ago, and for the things I said to them, and also that I'm an adult who shouldn't be bothered by this sort of thing. I disagree because it's a pretty big thing to A, not invite me, and to B, actively keep a secret. Who's the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It didn't happen 3 years ago as a one-off event. It's been an ongoing event for every time they've lied to you, outright or by omission. Have they come up with any reason for why they didn't tell you or invite you? They said they thought I wouldn't want to come and wouldn't be supportive. But at that point in our relationship, I was much closer with Jane and very supportive of their relationship. After that, they just kept repeating about the past is in the past. If the past is in the past, why hide it? They went out of their way for over 1,000 days to avoid telling you about it. I'd feel excluded too. I'd feel as though I'm not as much of a family member as the step-siblings. Storming out of a restaurant is childish, but so what? They earned that reaction from you. If I were you, my response would be, yep, your wedding is in the past, and so is our trust. I'm not interested in having a relationship with people I don't trust or feel don't trust me. Mind you, I'm a scorched earth kind of guy, not the a-hole. I have 3 children, Anna, 40 female, Becca, 37 female, and Charlie, 35 male. Becca and I are petite, while Anna, Charlie, and my husband are on the heavier side. When Becca got married 10 years ago, she wanted to wear my wedding dress. My wedding dress belonged to my mother. It wasn't a wedding dress, it was a full-length blue satin gown with blue sleeves and ruffles. It was also worn by my aunt during her wedding as a surprise to my mom, because my grandparents used to make fun of my mom for her courthouse wedding in an ugly dress. So, a lot of history. Since Becca and I were similar body-wise, it was easy to alter to fit her and remove the extra stitches so that I could use it again. My husband and I celebrate our every 5 years anniversary in our wedding dresses. Anna has a complicated history with Becca. Anna was very envious of Becca and always excluded Becca and me. I don't blame her because some of the comments from Anna's friends were really hurtful back in high school. Every time she introduces us, someone or the other mentions that they don't look alike. One of her ex-boyfriends even said that Becca and I look like Anna's kids. Cringe, I know. Anna always wanted to have a family, but Becca got to have all these milestones before her. Anna tried her best to be happy for her sister, but she has cried to me multiple times about how unfair it is, and she can't help but resent Becca. Edit. Becca knows this and tries her best to be sensitive to Anna. While they didn't get along while they were younger, they have worked past their issues in adulthood and are now very involved in each other's lives. Anna got engaged recently, and we are happy for her. She has found someone who really loves her, and they are wonderful together. When she last came to visit, she brought up altering my wedding dress and wearing it. I spoke to my friend who worked on the dress during Becca's wedding. She told me that she can alter my dress to fit Anna, but there would be a lot of changes as Anna is much larger, 350 pounds versus my 150 pounds. She told me that while she can try to remove them afterwards, it is very unlikely to alter it back to how it was before. I finally called Anna and told her that I cannot give her my wedding dress, and Anna was very upset. She said that she always pictured herself wearing the family wedding dress on her wedding. She called me fat-phobic and a bunch of other words. She told me that this is bringing up a lot of bad memories. She accused me of loving Becca more. I tried to explain to her, but she told me that I would give her the dress even if it means I cannot have it back if I loved her. My mother is no more, and this dress is incredibly sentimental to me. However, I also realized that weight has always been a sensitive topic for Anna. I understand that she is just feeling left out. My husband, Becca, and Charlie are on my side, but Anna and her fiancé are not. Anna even told me that she would stop talking to me if I continue being fat-phobic like this. Edit. Becca and I have also offered to help her find or recreate something similar, but Anna has rejected those ideas. Edit 2. What my friend said was that new pieces of the same color, white, needs to be patched into the dress. Dress needs to be cut and new pieces put in, especially for the breasts and hips. It might be possible to alter the dress to fit Anna, but bringing the dress back to its original state would be impossible. Am I the a-hole or not? Not the a-hole. I am skeptical of any seamstress who believes they could alter a dress to fit someone from 150 pounds to 350 pounds. You would be better off commissioning a look-alike dress made to fit her. There is nothing fat-phobic about this. It is not fat-phobic, it's pragmatic. I'm sorry, but editing a dress up from 4 to a 3X is, look, it's a historical dress. At that point, it would be more new fabric than old. It would be a patchwork quilt of the dress, so I get it. To give Anna the dress would essentially be scrapping the dress. Now, look, how you go about this here is vital. You are walking a tightrope line of being a potential a-hole. You haven't fallen off yet, but this is tricky, not the a-hole. Anna has not grown up and sufficiently emotionally matured enough to be getting married. A 350-pound package cannot fit into a sack made for 150 pounds. At 40 years of age, one would hope that Anna would have come to terms with her size. Sadly, she is not. Not the a-hole. I, 33 female, am in a lucky position. I own my house outright. I bought it with a mortgage 7 years ago. After several years of saving and after my 5-year fixed rate expired, I was able to pay off the remainder, due to a couple of inheritances and savings from my bonuses and pay raises at work. 5 years ago, my long-term best friend and early days boyfriend, Sam, then male 26, passed away, shortly after which I discovered I was pregnant. I adopted Sam's small son and later gave birth to male-female twins. So it's been an up and down few years. My older boy's now 7 and the twins are 4, and although their father isn't with us, we've built a very happy home. The cozy house I originally bought for its solidity and proximity to work is now full of toys and memories and love. For just over a year, I've been seeing Joe, 29 male. It's been going really well. He's funny, kind, interesting, good with my kids. Joe's normal living situation is that he shares a house with his brother. Their parents own it, but they retired to Spain several years ago. Joe's brother is a nurse, so when virus kicked off, he agreed Joe could move in with me for lockdown, so his brother didn't have to worry about transmitting the virus to or from his home. We soon got into a good routine. Joe and I have both been working from home, splitting our hours so we can both pitch in with childcare, homeschooling. Joe still pays his share of bills at his own place and pitches in with the shopping costs at mine. My utility bills haven't been noticeably affected by him staying here. We've got really close and started some preliminary conversations about possibly making it a more permanent arrangement. I thought we were on the same page, but then he started talking about getting his name added to the deeds for my house. He offered to make a significant payment to make him the part owner. Edit. He offered to pay half the value of the house, part up front and part in installments. I don't want to share ownership of the property. The security of knowing I can't really lose the house is really important to me, and the money that bought the house was from my hard work, plus money left to me by my grandmother and Sam. I feel like the house is a legacy for my children, and worry that sharing the ownership with Joe would mean that if we broke up, I might have to sell and uproot the kids. Joe says I'm being selfish and controlling, that my reluctance to commit financially means I'm not really in the relationship emotionally, and I'm denying him his opportunity to get on the property ladder. Everything's gone so well with us until now. It was a huge step for me to bring someone into my family. I do tend to be emotionally reserved and take some time to open up, but I can't imagine changing my mind about this. Am I the a-hole? You have your family, and nobody should threaten the stability you've built for you and them. What he was suggesting was convenient for him, but incredibly risky for you. The thing about him having a problem with you keeping the memory of their deceased father alive is super troubling, and this auntie is feeling irate about it. Good for you for remembering your priorities and looking out for you and the kids. Update. Last night after the kids were asleep, Joe and I sat down and had a long chat about this. I explained again why it was important to me to maintain financial control of the house. He apologized for calling me selfish and explained a bit more about his circumstances. Apparently, his parents have decided to keep their Spain house as a holiday home, sell the UK house where Joe and his brother have been living, and use the proceeds to buy something smaller but nearer to their daughter, who has MS and recently had a baby. Joe's brother is cool with this, and he's been considering moving into a rented house with a couple of friends anyway. Joe can't afford to buy his parents' house on his own, and they'll need full market value for it because Joe's sister and brother-in-law live in a much more expensive part of the country. So he needs to move anyway, and as we were getting along so well, He thought he'd bring forward his long-term plan a little by moving in with me, and he's a bit weary of living somewhere he has no stake in again. I asked what his long-term plan is, and he said that within 3 years he hoped we'd be married and shared assets, and he'd adopt the kids. Although I haven't ruled out the idea of ever getting married, I don't feel it's something I want anytime soon. And financial independence would still be important to me, even if I was married. As for the kids, I'd only consider sharing legal guardianship of them if they were much older, able to really understand and they wholeheartedly wanted it, in addition to it being what I and my partner wanted. Joe said he sees us as a ready-made family, and he's ready to commit completely. I said that felt very premature and made me feel overwhelmed. I've enjoyed our relationship, I really like him, but I feel years away from the sort of commitment he wants now. He said I'm a commitment phobe, and if I don't change, I'll always be alone. I told him the kids and I managed fine before he came along, and the 4 of us would always be able to cope. Then he said that one of the things that made him uncomfortable in our relationship was how little I need him. And if I'm being honest, that set off more alarm bells than anything else. Then he said he thinks I'm still in love with Sam, and he resents that I talk to the children about Sam and show them pictures of him sometimes. It's true that anyone I'm in a relationship with needs to be able to cope with the background presence in my life of my best friend, the father of my children, and a relationship that never had a chance to go sour. But I'm not going to stop helping his children remember him, however I feel about anyone else. And I don't truly believe that this would be a problem if my current relationship was really love. So Joe and I agreed that he should move out, and that's the end of us. I think we just had very different ideas about where our relationship was and where it was going. Maybe it was my fault as much as his, but I just can't give the grounds he wants. So it's just me and the kids again. I feel pretty cut up about it, but I think it's the right thing to do. Luckily, the relationship was young enough when he moved in that we introduced him to the kids as a very good friend who'd be staying for a while, rather than some permanent father figure. So, although they were sad to see him leave so suddenly, they've taken to it much better than I have, and I expect they'll soon be over it.